If you've owned the 360 since launch day, there are no doubt plenty of gems you've missed. And if you're new to the Xbox, then you've got some serious catching up to do. So what are the best 25 you can and should be playing? Fellow IGN Xbox editor Mitch Dyer and I decided to light last year's list on fire, send it to hell, and spawn a new list. These are our picks as guys who eat, sleep, and breathe Xbox every day for the past decade. It's the oldest game on our list, which tells you how well Burnout Revenge has held up. The game is great because it flips traditional racing convention on its head by encouraging you to hit other cars instead of avoid them. Road rage, traffic attack, and crash modes remain as endearing now as they were in 2006. So why this over Burnout Paradise? Simple. Paradise inexplicably axed crash mode.
Sam Fisher is a different kind of spy in Splinter Cell Conviction. He's faster, more aggressive, and way more violent here than in past games. And rightfully so. The guy's trying to avenge his dead daughter, so he goes ballistic on dudes. But the intelligent stealth design remains, and it carries over into one of the best co-op campaigns on any console. What's more fun than letting yourself go and groove it to a bunch of awesome hip-hop beats in your living room? Dance Central 2's dance-offs are insanely fun and add a whole new dimension to an already excellent motion experience you might be surprised to love.
Beating pedestrians with king-size dildos, running through the streets naked, and throwing yourself in front of moving cars to defraud the insurance company are some of the tamer activities in Saints Row the Third. It's like the designers threw every crazy idea they could at the wall and somehow made every one of them fun. At the opposite end of the racing spectrum from Burnout is Forza, a series that worships at the altar of richly detailed automobiles. 500 of them to be specific. Race in the cockpit view for the ultimate driving experience. Oh crap, is BMW gonna sue me now?
Smooth jazz and a slow pace really dial down the usual Halo tempo, but it works for ODST. It complements the story nicely, and that's what really sells this spin-off. The more human narrative unravels in an interesting way, with flashbacks driving the development of cool new characters we can relate to. Exploring an open abandoned Earth finally gives Halo 2 fans what they wanted too, and the firefight co-op mode still has a lasting effect on the franchise. Left 4 Dead 2's maps, melee weapons, and multiplayer modes expand on one of the best multiplayer experiences on any platform. Valve understands quality, and even now, years after its release, versus multiplayer and the co-op campaigns are just as unpredictably dangerous as they ever were. It's never too late to enjoy this modern classic. Is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 the best fighting game ever? Probably not, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. Look at what's going on here. It's nonsense. This is a fighting game anyone can enjoy because you can just mash buttons and make this cool stuff happen. That said, this is a tournament-grade fighter, and there's a sweet science to the triple tag team brawling. If you take care and bother to learn the ins and outs of these awesome fighters, you'll get even more out of UMVC3 than its delicious fan service overload and a sensory meltdown. Alan Wake does what too few modern horror games bother to do. It leaves you incredibly vulnerable, both in terms of how you defend yourself and where you're allowed to go. This is a great action-adventure game with the mystery you'd expect from a novel and the scares you want from a thriller movie, all wrapped around the perfect wacky weirdness of Twin Peaks. Yes! If you can name a more beautiful, whimsical, and gorgeous 4-player platformer with smarter and diverse levels, sharper animations, and lovable tone than Rayman Origins, well, we'd love to know what it is. Seriously, just looking at Rayman Origins right now is bringing enormous joy to my life. This is the kind of fun video games were made for.
Jam alone or rock with friends in Rock Band. The game that isn't a game so much as it is a music experience simulator. I'm never gonna open for The Who, but Rock Band connects me to Won't Get Fooled Again in a way that the radio, the iPod, and even another Who farewell tour can't do. You don't just cooperate toward a common goal with your virtual bandmates in Rock Band, you feed off their energy. The fourth Grand Theft Auto threw out everything about the last-gen trilogy and completely rebuilt it from the ground up. And yet, it's still decidedly GTA because of the living, breathing world that this series is so good at creating. You know about the radio stations, but how about the in-game internet, the funnier-than-ever pedestrian dialogue, the side missions with Brucey? The word epic is overused in video games, but it truly applies to GTA 4. But what about Halo Reach, you cry? Settle down, Beavis. Reach may have had the better multiplayer, but the single player is just lacking. Halo 3 combines an incredible campaign with great co-op, a great multiplayer suite of its own, and Master Chief. I know some of you will be pretty upset about this one, so state your case for Halo Reach in the comments below.
Ezio's first story finds the rhythm the first Assassin's Creed couldn't, both in terms of its improved acrobatics and varied missions. You're always on the go doing something interesting, and there's invariably a great motivation to do it. Italy is a gorgeous, exciting place full of opportunity, and it enables one of the best open-world experiences you can find on Xbox 360.
The litmus test for this one was easy. Which Call of Duty do I still want to go back and play? And it's the same answer every time, Call of Duty 4. It's got the best single player and the purest multiplayer. How could you not love the ghillie suit stealth levels? First-person platforming might not sound so great on paper, but when it's built around parkour and some of the most beautiful art direction you will ever lay eyes on, it turns Mirror's Edge into something that's as unique as it is memorable. For maximum enjoyment, never pick up a weapon. You'll have a better time than you would otherwise, and you'll get an achievement to boot.
Arkham Asylum was a tad easy because of Detective Vision, wasn't it? Arkham City keeps you from abusing your gadgets by giving you too much to see. The rapid-fire pace, unexpected turns, and secondary story options make a massive game feel manageable. Arkham City goes a long way to keeping you hooked on its brooding atmosphere and addictive exploration.
Your free time is going to take an arrow to the knee on this one. You know what you're getting with Skyrim. 100+ hours of medieval fantasy RPG goodness. Dynamically generated quests make sure the game literally never ends, and the Dawnguard expansion pack adds vampires to the mix. It's Fuss Road Dawsome! Fallout 3 is like Skyrim's evil twin. It has all the same powers and abilities, but puts them to use in very, very different ways. The humor is darker, the tone is bleaker, and the combat is way, way more violent thanks to the VATS targeting system. Can I get a yeah? Gears of War 3 is the full potential of a brilliant franchise brought to bear in a single game. The campaign rocks, and even has an emotionally impactful story. Not bad for a bunch of meatheads, huh? Horde mode is better than ever, and the new Beast mode might actually be the best part of the game.
Half-Life 2, Episode 1, and Episode 2 tell a phenomenal dystopian story through ingenious FPS design. Team Fortress 2 nearly perfects class-based multiplayer. And Portal's inventive puzzles are so creative that it's still kind of silly how good it is. Orange Box is, without question, the best bundle and value available on any platform. If you don't own this yet, please find it immediately. Go on, you deserve something special. Everything about BioShock resonates now as much as it ever has. Rapture is an absorbing setting full of fantastic characters forcing you into unforgettable situations. The political ambitions behind the unpredictable story are on an entirely different level than most games. Plus, BioShock takes a stance and forces you to consider your personal principles. Oh yeah, and you also get to beat crazy people with a wrench. Fighting for family feels right, and in some ways it justifies the dirty deeds you do in Red Dead Redemption. Exploring the spectacular version of this dying West makes it feel like you're part of a different time, and the freedom to discover America and Mexico is an addictive draw. You can spend 100 hours alone or with friends, taking in the sights and surviving the violence of Red Dead's inimitable open world.
The Xbox 360's funniest game also happens to be its smartest. Portal 2 proves that Portal was much more than a one-trick 3-hour pony. That sounds kind of gross, actually. New gameplay mechanics seamlessly mix with old, the storyline is full of twists and turns, and the co-op mode is a natural fit, and practically its own game. Compared to most games, Portal 2 is a professor in a room full of kindergartners.
At times, fighting your way across the galaxy to find Saren Arterius feels a little bit wrong. He has convincing motivations, and he's largely why we love Mass Effect so much. When it all comes together, it sets the stage to prove how his mad ramblings were probably right. Meanwhile, Shepard and his or her companions develop well over the lengthy, engrossing story, which is packed with killer set pieces, tough choices, and devastating consequences. But Mass Effect outclasses most other games, including its own sequels, by making you wonder whether the dozens of unforgettable hours you spent playing Intergalactic Adventure were really for the right reasons. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? You probably disagree with us, but that's what the comments section is for. Let us know below what we should have included, or what you agree with. We hope you enjoyed the top 25 Xbox 360 games. For all things Xbox 360, keep it locked to IGN.